First Alert meteorologist Mallory Schnell on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Schrock Innovations presents the Midwest's #1 independent computer repair company with service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, Papillion, Des Moines, and across the country via the Schrock desk. This is Compute This.
Good morning, folks, and welcome into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company with 4 locations to help you out when your computer is on the fritz, when your hard drive fails and you need to get that data back off of it. We have a data recovery lab to do that. If you're a small business or a nonprofit organization, you need a website or some custom software developed, we have Schrock Interactive to do that for you. If it touches a computer, we pretty much handle it over at Schrock Innovations. The number to give us a call today on the program is 888-250-2091. 888-250-2091. Of course, if you ask a question or make a comment, just be a part of the program because, I can talk for the entire hour, but it's a much more interesting show if you call in and give me really interesting, unique problems or questions to talk about. And there is no such thing as a silly question. If you have the question, I guarantee you lots of people listening also have the question. And things that, it's really helpful for you to call into us because things that I've covered in the past in my brain, they're checked on the to-do list, right? Like, don't let people remote into your computer. How many times have we talked about this? Check. It's done. I don't have to talk about it anymore. Yet someone's going to call in and say, yeah, I got this call from somebody and they said that my computer has an infection. They wanted to let me remote in. Well, guess what? That's how the ransomware gangs are getting in now. Because if your security is good enough, they can't get in. If you have Sophos protecting your computer and you have Secure Updater protecting your computer, now they're actually hiring call centers to call you to trick you into letting them live remote into the computer, and then they infect it with ransomware. We're at the point now where I talked to Brian last week. I'm like, maybe it is time. There is a feature in Sophos that we can enable that prevents all remote connections except from the Schrock desk. I always was a little hesitant to do that because it's a little self-serving, right? Like, no one else can help you but us. You can never leave. Of course, that isn't how we would do it. You can disable that. The question is, how do you disable it? We have 2 guys in our organization that can do it, and if they both happen to be off that day, and your brother-in-law wants to remote in to do something with your computer, and you have to call us to get us to turn it off, we need an interface. We need some custom software developed to allow us to do that. Schrock Interactive has quite the to-do list, so it's going to take a little time. So we're looking at possibly getting that level of protection increased for you in the interim so that we can make sure that you don't fall for stuff like that. Because if my dad can almost fall for it when he was alive, your mom or your dad could fall for it too. And they're good. They're really, really convincing people on the phone. They get people to let them in, even not just elderly people, but normal everyday people. We have people in their 30s coming in. Yeah, my monitor has a virus, and they called me about it, and we're like, what? Let's take a look. Did anybody happen to connect to your computer remotely? Yeah, they installed it was a great deal. It was like $400 for lifetime antivirus, and we're like, oh boy. Here we go. So if they can get you to install their lifetime quote-unquote antivirus software, how hard would it be to get them to convince you to install the ransomware infection that you thought was lifetime antivirus software? So give us a call, 888-250-2091. That's the number to join us on the show. That's how you get in the drawing for $25, and that's why we want to hear from you today. All right, so last week, if you missed the program, it was a great show. It's up on the website. We had a technical glitch on Monday. Sergey, our new employee, is posting the podcast to the website. He didn't check the category button for podcast. So now he has, and now they're there. So if you missed it Monday, Tuesday, it's up there now. But if you did miss the show, last week we told you about the CVS records breach. It was millions of records from CVS Pharmacy. Luckily, no personally identifiable information, but enough information that if paired with another database, they could personally identify you. So some concern there. We shared some hilarious marketing from Microsoft. That's worth a listen in segment 2 alone last week. Microsoft's latest ad where they're just like, here's our new game. We haven't finished it yet. This is what it's going to look like, and this is why we're using a deep voice that's going to make you feel this way. I mean, it was like the marketing video that the marketing department gave the executives to tell them what kind of a commercial they were going to make, and they said, that's good, let's roll with it. It's hilarious, so give that a listen. That's pretty good stuff. Also, we talked about Facebook's awesome idea for a watch. Because, with all the platforms protecting your privacy now, Apple is doing it now. You have they can't follow you with the advertising ID. Google is going to be doing that next year on all Android devices. Well, Facebook's got a real problem, so they need to identify you, basically, so they can like stalk you and give you ads that are relevant to your life. What better way to do that than make you wear the Facebook device? Yeah, it's not going to work. Newsflash, it's not going to work. But they're going to try. They're going to try anyway. We also reminded you about the importance of caring for your equipment in this time of shortage. Time of shortage. Let me tell you a quick story before we jump into this, because Windows 11 was unveiled this week, and we've got some exciting things and some concerning things, too, that we want to tell you about. But I'm driving an F350, a 2020 F350, okay? This thing is like driving a planet. It is huge, but we bought a fifth wheeler during COVID because if we wanted to go anywhere, you can't stay at a hotel. So we got a fifth wheeler, and we have since sold the fifth wheeler. We were able to sell the fifth wheeler for more money than we paid for the fifth wheeler because the economy in the world is upside down right now. For those of you who have never bought a fifth wheeler, it's very much like a used car. You'd never sell it for what you paid for it, let alone a profit. It doesn't make sense. My neighbor has some connections over at a Ford dealership here in town. And he goes, yeah, they're trying to get me to trade in my car and they're offering me more money than I paid for it. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So out of just dumb curiosity, I went to went on the internet, checked the value of my F350. My F350 pickup is worth more than it was when I bought it, even though I put 36,000 miles on it in a year. Can you believe that? And I'm thinking, woohoo, Daddy's getting a 2021. Ford's got the new autonomous driving package. I put 36,000 miles on my rig in the first year, guys. So autonomous driving is very exciting for me. So I'm looking it up, right? Go to the Ford.com, search all the dealerships within 100 miles of me. Does anybody have a Platinum or a Limited? Because those are the ones that have the self-driving autonomous package in stock. And the answer is yes, in white. Which, I don't want a white truck. That's weird. It's like a utility truck, right? Or silver, which, I guess I could do silver. I mean, I'm being picky now, right? But it's your choice of white or silver. And there's 6 trucks within a 100-mile radius of Omaha. In Des Moines, there is 1 within a 100-mile radius of Des Moines. The shortages are real, guys. Can you imagine being a car dealership right now and you have a guy who wants to come in and drop $77,000 on a pickup truck and you can't sell it because you don't have the one that he wants? Now, granted, he's going to trade in a $75,000 F350. He's going to plug $2,000 on the table and get a brand new truck. So that's what's going on in my head. The world is upside down. Take care of your stuff. If you scroll down on the Facebook feed, you're going to notice, we're broadcasting live, by the way, facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. You're going to notice that we have some pictures there of a computer that was recently into the service center. And it's solid state hard drive. The power supply went. And the solid-state hard drive literally melted the plastic mounting tray that it was mounted on into a cinder. Like, it looks like, plastic bubbles when you burn it. It looked like that. And it cooked the mechanical hard drive underneath it, which is now in our data recovery lab. And on top of that, it destroyed the motherboard as well. And that was all from one component failing inside the computer. So it's really important, guys, to make sure you take your maintenance seriously and make sure you stay up on it. Every 6 months is what you should do to keep your computer safe and running the way it's supposed to do. 888-250-2091. So as I mentioned, coming up on the program today, we've got Windows 11. Oh my gosh, Windows 11. Everybody's talking about it this week. Is it going to be awesome? Is it going to be bad? What's it mean for your computer? I've got some insight because guess what? My brand new 24-core Threadripper computer with 128 gigs of memory and a 2 terabyte solid-state hard drive will not run Windows 11. Now, I threw a lot of specs out there. Many of you don't know what they are. I spent more on the processor for that computer than you probably spent on your computer, just for one chip. It is brand new. It's 2021 tech. That's why I had to spend so much on it, because I had to buy it on the secondary market. I couldn't even buy it from our suppliers. But if a computer built in 2021 won't run Windows 11, what's going to happen to your computers? So we're going to tell you all about what to expect, what's changing, how it's going to work, how it's going to look, how long Windows 10 is going to be around, and what we need to do to get things moving forward for you on the program today. Also coming up on the show, millions of Dells need BIOS updates urgently. If you have a Dell computer, I am talking to you. Your computer is most likely, unless it's an ancient machine, ancient meaning 4 years or older, you probably need a BIOS update. 4 years or older, you're probably not going to get one. You still need one, but they're not going to give you one. So this is a vulnerability that allows an attacker to take complete control of your Dell, basically, and update the BIOS on your Dell automatically to do whatever they want it to do. If you get a BIOS virus, that's inside the motherboard of your computer. It's not even in the hard drive. That's one of the ways, it's suspected anyway, that Western powers were able to destroy Iran's centrifuges with I can't remember the name of the virus now, but the virus, they couldn't get rid of it. They kept wiping hard drives and stuff. They couldn't get rid of it. It's because it was in the BIOS of the computer. It wasn't in the hard drives. So this is real bad news stuff that we need to take real seriously. Apple and Amazon also coming up on the program today. They're teaming up. The dynamic duo coming together to bring Android apps to your computer. Interesting. I'm always a little, I guess I said Apple and Amazon. I misspoke there. I wrote down Apple on my thing, but I meant Microsoft and Amazon. Apple is obviously not trying to bring you Android apps. That would be odd. But no, Microsoft and Amazon are coming together to bring you Android apps on your PC, which could be really cool because, for example, from a business perspective, we have security camera software. It loads on a phone, doesn't load on a computer. If I can load the app on my computer, I can get rid of all the emulators I have to have on the machine. So that's pretty neat stuff. Also, Apple users have spoken. iPhone users have spoken. What do they want the next iPhone to be called? Because right now you're on the iPhone 12. Before that, you had the iPhone 11. What comes next? Ooh, I don't know if I want an iPhone 13. On a Friday, if I'm going to buy it on a Friday, come on, this is going to be rough. So what do Apple users want the next iPhone to be called? You can understand why many iPhone users are not in the marketing department, and we have no idea what this means for how they name their children. So we're going to tell you all about it on the program. So we have a lot to do today and not a ton of time to do it. So let's jump into this Windows 11 stuff first. Now, my computer that I built at home for myself, because I was rocking a Schrock holiday special for a long time. I was getting into doing some different things with the computer that required even more horsepower than the holiday special had. So I upgraded my processor. The holiday special, has 6 cores. I upgraded to a different AMD chip called a Threadripper. It has 24 cores of processing power. I went from the holiday special came with 32 gigs of RAM. I went to 128. It came with a 1 terabyte solid state drive. I went to a 2 terabyte. NVMe also. So, I mean, it's a beast of a machine. Even my techs are like, wow, I want that computer. And, wow, that's pretty cool. I have something that young kids want. This is awesome. It's got a good graphics card in it too, just in case I ever want to play, game. Not that I do that very often, of course. My wife's like slamming the phone. You do it all the time. Don't tell him, lovely Kimberly. So anyway, the computer, I ran the health check on it, which is Microsoft's new health check app. It doesn't really check anything. It's kind of stupid, actually, but it has a button that says check to see if I'm compatible with Windows 11. So I clicked it and immediately came back and said, you are not compatible. Apparently, I don't have a BIOS setting enabled on the motherboard because, I wasn't really concerned about it, but it's the Trusted Platform Module 2.0, TPM 2.0. It's a tiny little microchip. It's a physical microchip on your motherboard that adds hardware security to your rig. Almost all laptops have had TPM modules since about 2016 or so. So if you have a laptop that's relatively recent, you're going to have a TPM module built into it. Desktop motherboards and all-in-ones, maybe not. The worst part of this is you could have a TPM 1 or 1.2 module, like version 1 or version 1.2, but Windows 11 is going to require version 2. So in some cases, but not all cases, you can get a patch from the manufacturer that allows that chip to be upgraded to a TPM 2.0 chip. Have I lost you yet? Yeah, I was like, you got to be kidding me. So, and here's the best part. Somebody's already found a hack around to get around the detection because, you see, Windows 11 doesn't actually use the TPM 2.0. It just requires you to have it as a safety prerequisite. It's like, we're not going to pass a law to make you wear your seatbelt, but any vehicle sold in the state must have seatbelts. You know, if you're not going to encourage people to use the thing, why? So anyway, Microsoft wants Windows 11 to be safe. They want to mitigate hardware risks. They want you to have a TPM 2.0. I'm sure once I enable that in the BIOS, which requires a restart and some technical tweaking, then I'll be fine, right? So question 2, oh my goodness. You know, do Schrock modular computers, of course, have a TPM module, but which one is it? We really, honestly, never even, is it even turned on? Because the kind of attacks that this mitigates against are like state-sponsored spear phishing attacks. The odds that you're going to get hit by one of these things is almost non-existent. And so it was one of those things like we were much more worried about grandma getting a call from the Microsoft man than we are for enabling a TPM module on the motherboard of her desktop computer that runs an A6 processor and 4 gigs of RAM. You know, we're putting our threat vectors in order, and that one was clear at the bottom. Well, Microsoft has suddenly kicked it to the top because we have seen this script before. You can use Windows 10 until 2025. After that, you'll no longer get security updates. So 2025 is the expiration date if you want to stay with 10. When you get the next feature upgrade, which is Windows 10 2.1H2, your Windows 10 interface is going to look exactly like the interface of Windows 11. So in essence, you'll be running Windows 11, but it's going to be Windows 10, but it'll look like Windows 11 because that's not really confusing at all. Next up, good news, Windows 11 moves to 1 feature upgrade a year. So these biannual feature upgrades that you have to buy Safe Upgrade for or have a 20% chance of getting your computer completely hosed. The good news is Microsoft's going to only 1 per year. So that is going to represent a decline or a decrease in the cost of ownership of your computer. The bad news is each one of those updates is going to be epic. There isn't going to be a small update for this year and then a big one next year like they do right now with the twice annual. They lay the groundwork in the spring update. They test everything really well. And then they lay the big dog on you in the fall with, you know, not a lot of testing required because all the framework has been tested already. No, they're just going to dump it all on your head at one time. So my gut is we're going to see increased failure rates, but decreased cost of ownership. So interesting there. The other thing that's going to be really interesting here is because of the difficulty in upgrading, some people who want to upgrade to Windows 11 are literally not going to be able to. If you have a computer that's like an HP or a Dell and it doesn't have a graphics card that's good enough, you're dead. Because Microsoft requires DirectX 12 to run the computers. They require certain things in the motherboard and the feature chipsets. If you don't have them, you're done. If you have a modular computer, we can upgrade any of you as long as you have the TPM module and it's a version 2. Now, there may be a workaround for that still. We're looking into that. So we're checking into all these different vectors for you now. Long story short, though, there isn't a huge upfront benefit from moving to Windows 11 aside from you're going to get the newest, most recent developments before Windows 10 users get them. Also, you're going to have increased security. Windows 11 is more secure than Windows 10. But as Microsoft says, but Windows 10 is still a great operating system. It's really tough. Look at the shiny new thing we want you to move to, but you know the one you have now is fine. So those 2 marketing messages don't click. And so as happened with Windows 10, you'll remember this if you've been on the program for a while. We literally sent postcards to people's houses saying, you are going to be automatically upgraded from Windows 7 to Windows 10. You need to pay attention to this. People literally, we had a Better Business Bureau complain about it. And we're like, no, it's going to happen. And what they did is they popped up pop-ups that says, upgrade to Windows 10 now. Click yes for no or no for yes. Literally, it was that confusing. And people just clicked it, and then they got, why did I get upgraded? They got automatically upgraded. So you'll remember, it happened to you probably. You didn't choose to go to Windows 10. They just took you there. They're going to do the same thing with 11 as long as your computer's compatible. So we're working through those details, and we're going to keep you posted on what you need to do to make sure your computer is fit as a fiddle and ready to go. 888-250-2091 ran a little bit long that segment, but when we come back, millions of Dells need BIOS updates to remain safe on the internet. We're going to tell you what happened, why it's going on, and what your Dell needs coming up next on Compute This.
Drive Advisor is a free program from Schrock Innovations that monitors your hard drive's health and tells you if it's going bad. Download it for free at driveadvisor.com.
Remember the good old days when virus detection worked like Where's Waldo? Spot the virus in the striped shirt and you win. Today's infections are changing hourly to avoid detection and use social engineering to trick you into making mistakes. Using yesterday's security to defend against today's threats is like using leeches to stop an infection. It just doesn't work. We recommend Sophos Intercept X antivirus backed by Schrock's virus-free guarantee. Sophos uses the power of AI to detect the patterns of a virus attack and responds with Schrock's custom actions that stop it fast. With Sophos on your PC, Mac, Android, or iOS device, you get the state-of-the-art protection you need to defend against the most advanced attacks out there. In fact, if your device gets a virus while running Sophos antivirus, Schrock will remove it for free, guaranteed. It hasn't happened yet, and we intend to keep it that way. Ditch your dad's antivirus and keep your device, data, and identities safe with Sophos and Schrock Innovations.
Compute this pro tip 178. Those little life-saving surge protector strips are vital to your computer's health and should be used whenever possible, even for laptops. As computers get smaller and more powerful, they're also becoming more sensitive to dirty power, and your power is a lot dirtier than you might think. Even if you have a whole home surge protection, most power surges are generated within your own home. If you've ever vacuumed and seen the lights get dimmer and brighter, you created a surge. Surge protectors can only absorb so much energy measured in joules. When that capacity is exhausted, your surge protector becomes a glorified extension cord and needs to be replaced. You should always look for surge protectors that give audible alerts when they're no longer able to protect your equipment. Schrock recommends these because the lights on most strips are just power lights and they don't tell you when it's time to replace the unit. If in doubt, replace your surge protectors annually to keep your expensive TVs, computers, and other electronic equipment safe. This pro tip is brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back into Compute This. My name's Thor Schrock. I'm still the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company, locations in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road, in Omaha, 168th and Burke, in Papillion, 84th and Highway 370, and of course, Des Moines, 9500 University Avenue in West Des Moines, Iowa. Number to join us on the program, 888-250-2091. You probably can't tell on the radio here, but guys, I'm dealing with kind of a rolling tech problem. Ironic, right? So I'm flying with only one screen. So, if I stutter stop, something like that. But one of the consequences of this is I am unable to respond to your comments, and do things like that on Facebook. I'll get that corrected for the After Schrock later today. But I just wanted to let everybody know on Facebook, who's watching on facebook.com/Schrock Innovations, that I'm not ignoring you. I just physically can't respond to you right now because I'm not logged in. I'm actually looking at the public version of our website or of our Facebook page right now, not the administrative side. 888-250-2091. I mentioned the Aftershock. Coming up on the show, Bitcoin's hash rate is set for a monumental drop in like 7 days. The Aftershock, for those of you who don't know, is a brief show that we do after the radio show is done. It's exclusively on Facebook at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. It's a Facebook Live. After the conclusion, we do post all the videos on Monday to the regular Schrock Innovations website. So if you don't do Facebook or you can't see it, you can watch it on YouTube or Rumble after Monday. We get it up for you. But the Bitcoin hash rate is scheduled for a huge drop as China miners are migrating their units. Talked a little bit about this in the previous weeks, that a lot of this FUD around Bitcoin and the price drop is going to go away in July because those miners are moving to America. So it's like literally China's making mining great again or something. It's all coming back to the shores of America, but it was never here. So is it coming back or is it anyway? They're leaving America. Or they're leaving China and moving to America because China doesn't want the competition for the yuan. We're going to talk about that on the Aftershock. Also, on the Aftershock, I'm going to tell you about what's going on in the service centers. The benches are picking up. We're starting to see the end of the slow season, the beginning of the end of the slow season here. So benches are picking back up. That means that turnaround times, of course, are still 24 to 48 hours. But if you came in a week or two ago, you got your computer back like wha-bam. because we didn't have a ton on the bench. Well, that's changing. So if you want to get in and take advantage of a maintenance certificate you might have, a prepaid one that you've done, or if your computer hasn't had a maintenance checkup in the last 6 months, definitely get it in to take a look at that. Also, Schrock is hiring multiple positions right now. Just like everybody else out there, we're looking for good quality people. So if you want to join the Schrock team as a front desk person or a technician, we've got some spots opening up there. We'll talk about that in the After Schrock as well. 888-250-2091. So this Dell thing, this is called the BIOS Connect code execution bug. That's a mouthful of marbles, isn't it? But basically, millions of Dell devices there have a set of vulnerabilities. So it's not just one problem, but it's this problem coupled with that problem, coupled with this thing, coupled with the Dell support suite, allows an attacker to remotely update your Dell computer's BIOS. This is the software inside the motherboard of your computer that tells your Dell computer that it is what it is. With access to the BIOS, for example, we can turn off your trusted platform module. Windows 11, eat that. We can turn off secure boot, which would allow us to boot from a flash drive and introduce any kind of other problems to the computer. Altogether, the security flaws could be exploited to impersonate Dell.com and attack the BIOS or EUFI level of a total of 128 different Dell laptop, tablet, and desktop models. So odds are, if you have a Dell, you are impacted by this. Including those with the secure boot enabled and secured core PCs. That's trusted platform module that are owned by consumers and business users. So if you have a business, you probably have a Dell somewhere. You need to make sure that you get this BIOS update. It's not a software update, it's a BIOS update. You can try to get the update through Dell Support Assist. That's where I would try first. That's pre-installed on all Dells. If you did a clean install of your Dell or had someone else do it at some point, you may not have Dell Support Assist enabled. If you don't, you can always go to Microsoft Update, which is Start, and then you go to Settings and then Updates. You check for updates, right? Well, it's not going to pop up at the top and tell you this is an update you need. It's going to be nested under recommended updates. So this is where we talked about this last week, where I said, you usually don't want to do BIOS updates at home. Literally, we talked about this last week because things can go wrong. Well, here's a BIOS update that you either need to do at home or you need to do on our bench. When you bring your computer into our bench, we do the recommended updates for you. So if you have a Dell that you're bringing into the service center for a maintenance checkup or something along those lines, and this patch is available for your computer, we will install it by default as part of the maintenance process. 888-250-2091. Got to take our bottom of the hour break here, but I want you to stay with me, guys, because there's some amazing stuff coming down here. Apple, I said it again because I wrote it down and I'm reading my script. And I can't change it because I'm not remoted into my computer. Grr. But Microsoft and Amazon are teaming up to bring Android apps to your Windows PC. So all those cool Android games that you want to play, they're coming to your computer. But why is Microsoft teaming up with Amazon and not Google? It's kind of interesting, right? We're going to tell you what's going on and why it's important and what you're going to be able to do with your, and this, of course, is only a feature that will be available in Windows 11. What you'll be able to do with your Windows 11 computer coming up next on Compute This.
Schrock Innovations Data Recovery Lab saves the data the other guys can't. The next time your hard drive, camera card, or flash drive fails, let Schrock get your data back. External hard drives are handy. You can back up multiple computers to them or even use them to move lots of data from one computer to another. Computer users have been buying the same old external hard drives for years. While our computers have been getting faster, we still do backups that take hours or watch epic progress bars creep by to move files. Schrock wanted more for our customers, so our innovators created the fastest external hard drives on the planet. Schrock modular storage devices are up to 50% faster than Seagate or Western Digital externals and are modular in the truest sense of the word. We can create whatever size and speed of drive you need for all of your needs, and all modular storage devices come with a data restoration guarantee. If you use our drives for backing up and your computer's hard drive fails, we'll restore your backup to your repaired computer for free. Fast, simple, and flexible technology solutions from Schrock Innovations. It's what we do. Compute This pro tip number 753. Have you ever wondered how the bad guys always seem to find a way into your computer? Gone are the good old days of email worms and I love you viruses. Nobody wants to steal your data anymore, or in many cases, even your identity. Today's cyber criminals want to sell access to your computer or hold your data for ransom. The bad guys are exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities to break into systems that are supposed to be hack-proof. These vulnerabilities are always newly discovered, and the criminals have a brief time to exploit them before they get patched. Antivirus and firewalls do not prevent these attacks, but you can minimize your computer's exposure by installing all security patches as quickly as possible. The average computer needs 12 patches a week. That's not including the ones that are automatically delivered to your computer. Boost your cybersecurity by staying on top of it manually, or use a patch installation program like Secure Updater to get your computer the patches it needs. This pro tip is brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Fox News, I'm Karen McHugh. The number of bodies found in the rubble of that collapsed Surfside, Florida condo has risen to 5. The latest news from those searching for more victims isn't good.
Officials also say crews are finding human remains as they sift through the debris. 156 people are still unaccounted for.
Fox's Charles Watson. The CDC has extended its ban on evictions one more time, but that's it.
Tenants hoping for another month of eviction protection from the federal government have gotten their wish, but those days are numbered. The CDC extended the evictions moratorium until July 31st. It was supposed to run out at the end of this month. The moratorium was put in place during the pandemic to prevent further spread of COVID-19 by people who were put out on the streets and into shelters.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, the News Radio 1110 KFAB Weather Watch.
Some patchy fog possible this morning, otherwise partly sunny skies on tap today will warm up into the lower 80s. This afternoon with an isolated chance for a few storms during the late afternoon and evening, primarily west of the metro, will drop down to the mid-60s tonight. With Omaha's most accurate forecast, I'm 6 News First Alert meteorologist Mallory Schnell on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Alrighty, folks. Wow, we got some good stuff for After Schrock today. Even Delaney may stick around and listen to it. No, she leaves to go produce the show so we can put it up on the website for you guys. It's not like she's like running out of the room like, God, I'm finally glad that guy's done. Get out of here. 888-250-2091 is the number to join us. You're listening to Compute This. Had a caller call in to remind me the name of the Iranian virus was Stuxnet. And as soon as I heard the name, I'm like, oh, yes, the Stucky. Got it. So that was the name of the virus that I couldn't remember earlier in the program. Welcome into Compute This, guys. We have a lot to cover here in the second half of the program. Number to join us, 888-250-2091. Before we jump into that, though, I want to make sure I had a meeting this afternoon, a couple days ago, Friday afternoon, with basically with an attorney's office where we were doing some IP protections and things like, businessy stuff. And he asked me to explain to him what Drive Advisor did and why we created it. And when I explained it, my wife was there in the meeting and she said, I've never heard you explain it that way on the radio before. And she goes, that was a really good explanation. You need to say that on the radio. So I'm going to take a quick minute here to tell you the backstory of why we created Drive Advisor. So what is Drive Advisor? Drive Advisor is a free program that we make at Schrock. It's our software. We make it. We don't sell data to anybody. We don't share data with anybody. Your privacy is safe with Schrock. What it does is it watches the hard drives on your computer. And if one of your hard drives detects a failure, in other words, if the smart status, the log file that's built into every hard drive but is suppressed by every modern computer because they don't want you to know if the hard drive is starting to fail because the warranty doesn't cover it until it fails entirely. And then, of course, it's failed because your computer won't boot. That's when the warranties kick in for Dell and HP and Lenovo and everybody. So they don't want you to see that the BIOS, the smart status has changed on the drive. So Drive Advisor reads that log information, translates it into an understandable health percentage rather than giving you all the technical details. And basically, if your drive's 100%, it's healthy. If your drive is 99%, that's the equivalent in a computer of a heart attack in a human. It needs to be replaced. Now, when you take your computer into one of our service centers and have a maintenance checkup done, we run 2 different tests on your hard drives. The first test we run is a smart test. It's Drive Advisor, basically. We check the health status of your hard drive. The second test that we run is a surface test because Drive Advisor detects problems that have happened in the past. But if something is going to happen in the moment on your driver, is happening presently, but hasn't been recorded to the log file yet, we want to catch that too. So we run a surface test. That surface test, it's possible for a drive that has a failing health percentage, that has had problems in the past, to get lucky and pass a surface scan. So when we scan your hard drive with both tests and we come up with a bad hard drive, you say, I want to take it to another computer shop for a second opinion. So you take it to one of our competitors for a second opinion. They check it in. They don't run two tests. They just run the surface test. So they run the surface test on your drive and they say, Schrock's scamming you. They're trying to get you to spend money on hardware you don't need. That we see this all the time with them. All the time they're telling to sell people hard drives, telling them their hard drives are bad when they're really not. The hard drive is really bad. And we have customers who call us back and they are really mad because they trusted us, right? And they think we violated that trust. And we're like, no, please, let me come to you. Let me come to your house and I'll run this test on your computer to show you the health percentage is failing. Like, we'll do it for free. I'll replace the drive for free. Let us replace it. Your hard drive is failing. Because, once you blow that trust up, it's very, very hard to earn it back, even though we didn't do anything to blow it up. So we created Drive Advisor. So you would have a program on your computer at home that would warn you when your hard drive is starting to fail. That way, if you go to some other hole-in-the-wall computer shop somewhere, and they tell you, everything is fine, ma'am, you can say, well, then why is Drive Advisor telling me that my software is bad? And the guy is going to be like, I don't know. That's why it doesn't say Schrock anywhere on it. You ever notice that? Drive Advisor doesn't say Schrock on it because it's just Drive Advisor. It just advises you about the hard drives and lets you know when they're failing. And if you're a Schrock customer, especially if you have a warranty, when your hard drive starts to fail, it alerts us. And then we call you. We pick up the phone and physically call you every time, only for the C drive. If you have like an F drive or a D drive or some external that's failing, we don't call you about that. But we'll call you about your C drive failing and say, hey, listen, your main hard drive is failing. We need to get that in here. Let's fix it. And of course, if it's under warranty, we'll call you about any hard drive that's failing. But that's what Drive Advisor is. That's how it works. So if you don't have a Schrock computer, you can still run Drive Advisor. Just go to driveadvisor.com. It's Drive Advisor, E-R, because it's made in America. Driveadvisor.com. Download it, install it on your computer, and you'll be protected too. 888-250-2091. All right, Microsoft and Amazon are getting together in an alliance of unholy power. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if it's unholy or not, but it's an alliance of power for sure. Because what a lot of people don't realize is Amazon has a lot of different businesses. One of the lesser known businesses that they have is they run an app store. So on your Android phone, your phone comes pre-programmed to only allow you to download apps from the Google Play Store, right? Well, Amazon has an equally safe app store as well that has all the same apps that Microsoft has. And on top of that, if you a lot of these games require in-game purchases, right? So your kid's always coming to you, Mommy, can I get this, the pony unlocked or whatever, it always happens. So when you are using the Amazon store, you can purchase using your Amazon account, Amazon coins, quote unquote. And then those Amazon coins are sold you can buy them at a 10% discount, and you use those to buy the in-game app purchases. So when you use the Amazon App Store, essentially you get a 10% discount on every app in-game purchase that you make, or every app that you buy. It's like a 10% discount. So you're silly not to use it if you're willing to change the settings and use side-loaded apps from Amazon's App Store. Okay. So that's the first thing. Getting it set up is a little technical, but that's fine. It's going to be built into Windows 11 with a built-in emulator, basically. So you'll now be able to run the Android subsystem on Windows 11 and run all of your favorite Android apps and games, anything, right on your computer screen instead of your tablet or your mobile device. So it's going to help make the PC more relevant, because a lot of these new devices that are coming out, camera systems, Ring doorbells, they all have apps, right? You don't go on your computer and log into ring.com and go look at your video. You whip out your phone and look at the app. Well, now you'll be able to do that on your Windows 11 computer too. Of course, Microsoft is not making this available on Windows 10. It's part of the Windows 11 feature set, which is one of the encouraging reasons to try to get you to upgrade and jump up to that. But yeah, if you have Android apps that you love, maybe you didn't even know that Amazon had an app store, or let alone that you can get it at a 10% discount. But let me go crazy coupon lady here on you, okay? All right. So you're going to buy Amazon coin, right? So you can get a 10% discount on all those My Little Ponies and Smurfs and Care Bear things that you have to buy for the little kids. First, you go, and this, they're not paying me to say this. First, you go to Hy-Vee and you buy a gift card. They sell Amazon gift cards at Hy-Vee. For every $100 that you spend at Hy-Vee on a gift card, you get 25 cents a gallon off your fuel saver. 25 cents, my friends. Stack that over 20 gallons. That's a lot of dough. You pretty much, now you have like a 20% discount on those stupid things that you're going to buy anyway for the kids. So you keep some Amazon gift card in your account all the time. When you go to the grocery store, you throw a $25 one in the cart. You get a quarter for, you get, I misquoted. It's 5 cents for every $25. So you throw a $25 gift card in the cart, you get that. You have another 5 cents a gallon on your fuel saver, and you're saving boatloads of money. I literally have not paid for gas this year, guys. I'm not buying like in-game purchase stuff. That'd be kind of crazy. But buying things on Amazon that we either need for the business or things like that, guys, it's crazy. That Hy-Vee deal is pretty good. So they don't pay me to say that, but I'm trying to help them out a little. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. There's your crazy coupon Schrock lady thing. Crazy coupon guy? Crazy coupon Thor? We'll have to work on the marketing on this one. 888-250-2091. Mike, welcome to the program. How can I help you today on Compute This?
Well, it's got a question. I've got an older Dell, 5 years old, and I have successfully downloaded all the other Windows 10 app updates, but I haven't yet received the update for the 21 version.
Right.
Should I go and download that myself?
Great
Just
question.
let it be.
Last week on the program, we mentioned that Microsoft just last week is pushing the 2.1H1 update onto computers that are approaching the end of their serviceability, is how they said it. In other words, computers they're not sure it's going to work on. And so they're starting to push it down to those people now. Now, you could be in that group, and then it's just a matter of time. Or you could be the rung below that group, the people that Microsoft has no idea whether it's going to work or not, so they're just not going to do it. So if you want the 2.1H1 update, if you want to see if it's compatible with your computer, there's two ways you can do that. Number one is you can obviously just get Safe Upgrade from our website, run it on the computer. It's $55. It should install the update for you. If it's going to have a problem, it'll tell you there's going to be a problem. And now you've got the warranty train going over at Schrock. Worst case scenario, it's only $30 more for us to get it installed if you have to bring it in and do it on the bench. So that's a win. Number two is you can Google download Windows 10 and follow the directions there to install 2.1H1 on that computer. This is literally the same as doing a Windows update. You're just kind of forcing the process to happen. More importantly, though, I would encourage you. You mentioned you got all the Windows updates. Did you check for the recommended updates? Like when you click check for updates, down below it says recommended ones. Did you expand that and get all those too?
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. And how long ago did you do this?
Just last week.
Okay. So this week there could be a new recommended update. Dell pushed out those BIOS updates this week. So make sure that you check for that to make sure you have that update if you have a Dell. I don't know what the cutoff is or how far back they're going to go. Last time around, when there was all those vulnerabilities that impacted Intel chips, they went back to 5th generation Intel chips. They didn't go back any further. So I mean, we're on Gen 10 right now. So if you have a 5-year-old Dell, you're right on that borderline. So definitely check and see if you have that update available.
Okay. Sounds good. I will try that.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call, Mike. I appreciate it. And we got you in the drawing as well for the $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. One other thing I'm going to point out real quick before we go to break. Another product that we have is Secure Updater. Secure Updater, the way that it does its licensing, I made the guys, I said, I want something that is stupid, magic, simple, right? So when we designed it like 7 years ago, you didn't get BIOS updates through Windows Update. That wasn't a thing because it's dangerous, right? So it wasn't a thing. Now it's a thing. And so one of the ways that Secure Updater fingerprints your computer for licensing purposes is to look at the BIOS revision on your motherboard. If that revision number changes, your Secure Updater may not log back in. So if you do have a Dell and you do get this update and you also have Secure Updater, it's very easy for us to fix this for you. We can do it right over the phone. just give us a call in the service center. Of course, when you come in for maintenance, we check your Secure Updater to make sure it's working if you have a subscription. But if your Secure Updater, and every month I get a list of people who have not logged in the last 30 days, and we contact those people to tell them, hey, your Secure Updater isn't logged in. But just to give you a heads up, if you do get that update for the BIOS, or sometimes they call it a system update or a firmware update, if your Secure Updater stays black after that, it's expected behavior. It's easy to fix. We can do it over the phone. 888-250-2091. Going to take our final break of the program, guys. But when we come back, so you didn't think you were going to learn how to save money on gas today and how you were going to get a 10% discount on My Little Pony. I mean, the things you learn on this program can't be quantified, right? When you come back, though, we're going to talk about something serious. The iPhone. There was the iPhone X, iPhone 10. But then they didn't go to the iPhone XI because that would have been too Chinese, right? iPhone G? No, that wouldn't have worked. So it was the iPhone 11. Well, then what comes next? Logically, we can't be like Samsung and go from the S10 to the S20. So what comes next? The iPhone 12, right? Well, what comes next? Ooh, that's a scary handset, right? Well, so literally a company did a poll of Apple iPhone users asking them what they wanted to name the next iPhone, and the result is hilariously stupid. So we're going to tell you what iPhone users want the next phone to be called coming up next on Compute This.
Schrock Innovations repair technicians also make house calls. Make an appointment and let us bring our award-winning computer support right to your home or business. Schrock Innovations has spent nearly 2 decades working to make your technology life easier, and the all-new SchrockInnovations.com is no exception. Now you can order new modular computers and solid-state laptops directly from our website, secure your computer with our virus-free guaranteed semantic endpoint software, find innovative new technologies like our modular storage devices, and get free help and tips. Take a look at the special section to find sales on one-of-a-kind items, display models, refurbished units, and our latest special offers. Swing by the Compute This page to watch TV segments and archived radio shows, or even get one-on-one help through the Schrock Desk. As always, we respect your privacy, so we secure our website with the latest encryption technology and only the most secure payment methods. You can pick up your purchases at any of our 3 service centers or have them shipped directly to your door. The new SchrockInnovations.com makes technology simple. It's what we do. And now Compute This Pro tip number 373. Everyone knows we're supposed to back up our computers and then check those backups periodically to make sure they're working. So why don't most people do it? Lots of people have different ideas about what backing up means. Is it copying files to a flash drive? Is it using a fancy backup program? And how do you know it's working anyway? Windows makes backups easy through free software that's already on your computer. Open your control panels and click Update and Security. Select Backup and choose from all of the available options to get a regular, reliable checkup. You'll need something to back up to, like a Schrock modular storage device or some other backup hard drive. Backups usually run once a week, but you can always change the frequency. The best part is that if your backup ever fails, you'll see a notification in the lower right corner by your clock telling you something's up. Backing up your important data has never been easier. So take a moment to back up your computer today. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back in. Final segment of the program. I want to remind everybody to tune in for the After Schrock. I have a feeling it's going to be raucous today. I don't know. I'm in a mood. Everyone around me is in a mood. In the break, someone in the studio says, "You made a mistake." And I'm like, "I did?" I mean, it's been known to happen. And she says, "You skipped iPhone 11. You said there was 10, then there was 12. Logically, 12 comes next." And I said, "Well, no, I did the whole bit about iPhone G, XI. And she's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "It's a Roman numeral for 11, XI. And she's like, "I don't know anything about Roman numerals." I'm like, "They don't teach kids about Roman numerals anymore." I guess, why would they? But, quick trivia fact, since we're learning all kinds of new things on the program today. Do you know why the Roman numeral system never caught on and we don't use it anymore today? It's really simple. There's no representation for 0. Something less than 1, less than I. So without a 0, you can't do advanced math. You can't calculate orbital mechanics. Nope. So, no more Roman numerals unless you're watching the Super Bowl. Because then I'm like, well, why do I know Roman numerals? Well, I learned Roman numerals from trying to figure out what in the world that Super Bowl number is every year. Even though it just increments by 1 every year, so you could probably figure it out pretty easily. But I'm trying to figure it out. You threw an M in there and some what is that? And then of course the MGM when I watched movies when I was younger, like you go to the theater and they put the dun 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 dun, dun and then there's the lion roaring and then there's a giant Roman numeral under the lion representing the year. And so there you go. So those were my cultural exposures to Roman numerals. Well, kids don't get that anymore. Netflix doesn't throw any Roman numerals on the screen. I mean, they should. Like the 100 could be, I don't know. It wouldn't be 10 X's. Is that an M? I don't know what the Roman numeral for 100. I've never had to use it beyond, base 10. 888-250-2091. See, this right here, guys, is what the After Schrock sounds like. So if you want to tune into it, it's going to be on Facebook Live right after the program here. Give it about 6 minutes after the show to get through the news and everything, get the studio reset, and then we'll do a Facebook Live and we talk about some stuff today. We talked about Drive Advisor earlier. One quick fact is 14.8% of hard drives this week that were scanned by Drive Advisor were bad. So 14.8%. So let's just round it up to a good 15. We're trending up. 14.7 was last week. Let's just say 15% of all the hard drives out there that were tested are bad. So if you don't have Drive Advisor, you have a 15% chance that your hard drive is bad. So that would be what? You have an XV chance that your hard drive is bad. Okay, that's in Roman numerals, kids. For those of you who don't know, we got to start exposing the children to these things at some point, or we're going to lose this knowledge, guys. It's going to happen. They don't teach this in critical race theory. All right. So yeah, I had to throw that in there. So Apple users, they want an even scarier name than iPhone 13, right? So a new survey claims that Apple users really, 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 really don't want it to be called the Apple 13, the iPhone 13. So why is this? What do they want? What name would they prefer? If they want something that's not, because 13 is a scary number, you see. That's why we don't have the 13th floor. I don't know about the building in Florida if it had a 13th floor. Oh my goodness, random neuron fire. Let me share something with you. Many of you have dealt with Eli in our Lincoln Service Center. Congratulations to Eli and family. He got married this week, or last week, went on his honeymoon, was staying in a condo in Florida, across the street from the one that collapsed. Literally, he said the gym was closed in the condo where I was staying. So every morning I went and worked out on the patio outside, watching the people on the balconies of the building that collapsed. He goes, I was literally looking at those people for a week that are possibly dead in that collapse. They left 5 hours before the building collapsed. They headed back to Nebraska 5 hours after that, or before the building collapsed. It's just insane, the connections that you see in life sometimes. But anyway, so people want something scarier than that with an iPhone. What are we going to call it? Because we got to figure something out, because 13 isn't scary enough. So 74% of respondents in the survey. Now, 74% of people don't agree on anything, right? 74% of people don't know what to eat for breakfast in the morning. But they all agree that it should be called anything except the iPhone 13. Next, you might think the logic of the hotel operators skipping the 13th floor is in play here. Only 18.3% of people responding were superstitious about the number 13. So it's not really a fear of 13. Why don't they want it to be called the 13? They just want a different name. Literally, it's like, meh, let's get a different name. Let's do something new. Let's do me. So what do they want to call it? 38% of Apple users want the new phone to be called the iPhone 2021. Makes sense, right? It'd be easy. So that would be the iPhone XX. Whatever. See, what's the number for 20? I don't know. So anyway, you could do it in Roman numerals, Apple. There you go. And then no one would know what it means. It'd be like the symbol for Prince. No one would know what it means. So they wanted it called the iPhone 2021. Now, next up, I want to know, these people who want to name the phone iPhone 2021, did they name their children like Child 2006 or Child 2011? Because if that's all you can come up with, iPhone 2021, like the iPhone Death Star. I mean, you can come up with come on, you want something scary. Why is I'll call it the iPhone 2020. That's pretty scary stuff, right? Something's going to go wrong because it was 2020. All right, 888-250-2091. All right. I don't have a name here, but I have a caller about Drive Advisor. How can I help you on the program today?
Yes. So this is a Kim,
Okay.
and I'm trying to download Drive Advisor,
Yes, sir.
but every time I push the download button, instead of getting a download, I get all these symbols like a X
Yes.
and a whole lot of junk.
I'm familiar with the situation that you're facing, and we are working. Schrock Interactive is working on a fix for it. It's a difference in the way that Firefox, you're using Firefox for your browser, handles downloads. It handles them differently than Chrome and Edge do. So if you try to download it in Firefox, you're going to get a bunch of ASCII characters. If you download it with Google Chrome or Edge, it'll work just fine.
Okay. So I should try Edge.
Yep. Yeah, we have to wrap a new flag in it to tell Firefox how to use it properly. Then we have to re-sign it. Then we have to republish it and update the repository. And there's other changes. We want to get Battery Advisor working, so we're trying to wrap all these changes up at one time because soon that software is going to check your laptop's battery for health too. Because a lot of people don't realize you have a health meter on your battery too. So anyway, just download it with Edge or Google Chrome, and you'll be good to go. Thank you very much for the call as well. And I do have you in the drawing here for the $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate as well. All right, as I mentioned, guys, the benches in the service centers are getting busy again. The challenge that we have here is making sure that we give everybody the same turnaround. Now, one of the things I mentioned last week during the After Schrock that we did a competitor analysis. And in our competitor analysis, we checked to see things like turnaround time. How long did it take our competitors to get back to us about a computer that one of our technicians stealthily dropped off as if he was a customer? Some places advertise 24-hour turnaround. And we were pretty impressed by that because at first my technicians thought that meant they were running a third shift. Like we will get your computer, we have 24-hour repair. In other words, you could drop it off at 2 a.m. and we'll fix it, kind of like a Taco Bell. That's not what they mean. They mean a 24-hour turnaround time. You'll have it back the next day. Well, how do they achieve that? Because my guys are literally sitting there like, wow, if Thor told us we had to have every computer guaranteed fixed in 24 hours, what if you have to order a part? What if it's a new problem that no one's ever seen before? We've had our share of those before in the past. You can't repair every computer in 24 hours. Well, the answer is you can if by repair you mean we're going to wipe the computer, reinstall it to factory defaults, and give it back to the customer without a data backup. That's what some of them meant by 24-hour guaranteed repair. Your computer will work great. You just won't have any of your stuff, and you won't be able to use it to do anything. We understand the difference at Schrock. So 24 to 48 hours, we give ourselves a little bit of leeway there. The benches are starting to fill back up, so make sure if you're coming in, you get in sooner rather than later. Mike, congratulations. You've got yourself a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. We'll get that out to you on Monday here out of the Lincoln Service Center. We'll get that added to your Schrock account. We'll see you all for the After Schrock coming up next. And again, next weekend for another edition of Compute This.
From the Amish Furniture of Nebraska studio, style you'll want, furniture you'll love. This is News Radio 1110 KFAB Omaha, and